Hello and welcome to a Megadrive video. This is one kind of video I've never done before. I've never done a Sega Megadrive video. I just thought I'd talk about my collection, the games I've got for it, and stuff about maybe where I want to take it in the future. It might be a long video, so you might want to grab a drink or something. But anyway, the Sega Megadrive is a very fantastically popular system. And it was the obvious rival to the Super Nintendo, and the reason I love it so much is because of the Mega Drive exclusive games that you couldn't get on Super Nintendo. Those kind of dark, gritty games that Nintendo would never really do. I love the sound chip on the Mega Drive. I love the way it sounds with some games. People may say it's inferior, but I've become so kind of used to and in love with like the way that the sound comes out of the Mega Drive. I think it's great. The graphics for certain games are just brilliant. Those certain games that push the system to the limit, I just absolutely adore. So what I want to do with this video, like I say, is just show you a few of the games I've got, my collection. It's not really a big collection; it's really small, but I'm hoping to grow it because I really want to buy some games for it going forward, and I've got plenty of room to grow the collection. So I'll show you my Mega Drive. I've got a couple of Mega Drive systems. I don't have a Japanese Mega Drive. The reason being, I think the PAL Mega Drive is much better looking. I don't really need one. I've modified my PAL one here. I've got one running my EverDrive. It's modified for region and speed as well. I do have another Mega Drive here. This is I call my hero console because essentially it's like a stock Mega Drive. I've not modified it at all. It's the Model 1 original Mega Drive, and it's absolutely mint condition. I just keep this one as a spare console, pristine condition, because I just love it. I think it photographs well as well. Not that I sit around taking photos of it, but it's just lovely, shiny black, glossy, beautiful condition. Just like fresh out of the shop in the 90s. I absolutely love it. And like I say, I don't have a Japanese Mega Drive because I think I don't really need one. I would like to have one, I think, going forward though, just to have like as a spare console. But the PAL Mega Drive is more than enough for me. I get to play the games I want to play on it, and like I say, I have a spare. I have this as a backup. But it's just a great system. I've watched many Mega Drive pickup videos over the years of YouTube. Other people who collect for the Mega Drive and do pickup videos, and I never really kind of went there in regards to getting a focus on it because I was always with the Sega Saturn. And now my Sega Saturn collection is primarily Japanese. I'll pick up Japanese games for my Saturn all day long, but when it comes to the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo to that extent, I will go PAL all the way. I think the PAL Mega Drive Super Nintendo games are so much hit a chord with me so much more just for nostalgia reasons. The box art, primarily the box art. I'm not. I didn't grow up buying or playing Japanese games. Everything was UK PAL, and I've got no problems with playing 50 Hz Mega Drive games whatsoever. It's the speed I grew up playing. I had no idea even growing up about anything about 60 Hz, 50 Hz. I didn't know it ran 17% faster. I wasn't bothered. I didn't care, and to this day I don't really care either. For me, it's all about nostalgia, and the reason I want to, focus a bit more on Mega Drive now is because I want to pick up those games that I either got rid of or really want in a physical collection. I can play any Mega Drive game I want now because I've got the EverDrive, but playing a lot of EverDrive. It's hit me as it's come to a bit of a wall as in regards to ROM sets. Now, ROM sets for the Mega Drive, there are a lot of ROMs on the Mega Drive that aren't complete or have checksum errors, And as well as they play, and as flawlessly as they play, and you may not notice, any kind of difference between playing that and a real cartridge, there are certain things that really, bug me, because I was playing a game the other day on the Everdrive, and I put in, it's a game that has like a passcode feature, and I put in a passcode, and the game bugged out, the ROM bugged out, and it wouldn't do that if I had the actual cartridge. So that's a game I'm going to get a cartridge copy of. So there's just little iggles of ROM sets that really bug me, and I think for me personally it would be better to have the physical cartridge, because you can never beat having the original. Everdrive is great, I can play ROMs all day long, but I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of getting sick of thinking in the back of my mind, this ROM will never be as perfect as a dump as having the original chip or cartridge, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be picking up some Megadrive games going forward that I want to have physical PAL copies of. So let's go through my collection. I'm going to show you the PAL. I have like 5 or 6 PAL games. It's really small, and I have a bunch of Japanese ones. But let's just kick it off, and I'll show you what I have. Okay, so first one, FIFA International Soccer. I love this game. This is the first FIFA game I played, was the Megadrive version. A friend's sister of mine had it, and she had a Megadrive and he had a Super Nintendo. So we were on Blade playing on the Megadrive, and we played this, and it was the first time I played FIFA Soccer, and I've gone for this version ever since, essentially. And it's better than the Super Nintendo version in the fact that it's got like the crowd cheering, better sound effects. So FIFA Soccer on the Megadrive all day long. And another issue with this and ROM sets as well, like the later FIFA games, like FIFA 95, FIFA 97, the ROMs online are actually starting to get banned now. So a lot of the ROM sites, you can't get the ROM, you can't download the ROM. So in that respect, people think buying sports games are shit and bad. I guess because, these are EA games, a lot of the ROM sites are getting hammered with, being requested to take certain ROMs offline. And that's a whole nother topic now. If ROMs were taken offline, certain ROMs were taken offline for like the 16-bit era, imagine, would that make, physical, retro collecting, would it make it more expensive? If there were no ROMs, if all the companies had a massive legal crackdown on all the ROMs, and you weren't allowed to download ROMs, and all the ROM sites were taken down, what would you do? Can you imagine what that would do to retro gaming and retro collecting? It would. I think it would drive up prices, because most people play via emulation, don't they? Like, I've got this Everdrive, I've got the ROMs on there, but it's beginning. I think it's starting to begin to become a bit of a pain getting certain ROMs for certain games, and that's the reason I want to buy physical copies of these games now, because there was another game I was having a nightmare finding a ROM for, so I think I'm just going to go for the physical cartridge. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'll show you when I get it. Sorry, it's pretty dark in here, but I think going for physical copies of games in that respect, for me personally, is the way to go for it. So, first one in my collection, FIFA Soccer. Streets of Rage is the next game I've got. I love this game. And the first experience I had of Streets of Rage was actually on the Sega Game Gear. I remember as a kid sitting on the steps. I don't know, my brother got a Game Gear from somewhere or borrowed it off a friend or something, and he had Streets of Rage on the Game Gear. Absolutely loved it. So I've wanted and had this ever since, Streets of Rage. I guess I really should get a Game Gear and have that original version, because that was the first time I ever played a Streets of Rage game. Playing as Axel, doing that kind of backwards, where you slam them backwards, do that kind of suplex move. But this is an awesome beat 'em up. And it was always better than kind of Final Fight on the Super Nintendo in the respect that obviously you got 2 players, so you can't beat it for that. It's great 2-player action, and one of the few great beat 'em ups on the Mega Drive. Now there's not a lot, there's a handful, but this is one of the best ones. I love it. Love that game. This is the first Mega Drive game I ever played. So nostalgic. Love this game, and this is staying in my collection forever, purely for that fact. Now, I don't have any other Sonic games on the Mega Drive. I have them all on the Sega Saturn, but this game in particular is staying because it's the first Mega Drive I ever bought and I ever played, and it's nostalgic and important to me for that reason. Now, technically, the first time I ever played this, it was when we went on a holiday in '93. We went to visit my auntie. We stayed with her in New Jersey, and we went to a Toys R Us, and they had the system, in a stand demoing. You could play it. So I guess technically the first time I played Sonic 2 was the Genesis version. And I remember it being called the Genesis, and I was like, why have they got a strange name for it over here? But I guess I really should have the Genesis version now, shouldn't I? But for me, it's got to be PAL. I'm not really fussed in that regard, but Sonic 2, physical copy, have to have in my collection. And also, another reason I have a PAL version is because I don't really like the box art for the Sonic games, the Japanese versions. Like I wouldn't buy them anyway because I've got they bring me no nostalgia. Look at this box art. It's all about these kind of, the orange squares, the way it looks, the artwork. The PAL version for me is the way to go. Now all my Mega Drive games are all complete. They've all got this hang tab. They're all lovely, lovely, beautiful condition games. So I really look after them. So that's number 2. That's Sonic 2. Number 3 even. That's the third game. Here's the game for me that really defines what the Mega Drive was all about. Like action platformers. And this game being a great Mega Drive exclusive. Shinobi 3. Not my favourite Shinobi game on the Mega Drive. Well, I'll show you that later. But this game just epitomises how great the Mega Drive actually was. Like, you'd never get a game like this on the Super Nintendo. The dark, gritty action, the graphics, the music. This game is immense. It's brilliant. Absolutely cool. Love playing this. This is Shinobi 3 Return of the Ninja Master. And again, it's got to be PAL for me because the box art is just... Love it. Love it. So nostalgic. It's that logo. It's that Mega Drive logo. You just see that because it reminds me of Meme Machines and the meme. Those video game magazines you used to get, and then you got the squares here that carried on from like the Master System. Just so British, classic. Absolutely love it. Here's another game that, as well for me, is better on the Mega Drive. Like FIFA, it's Earthworm Jim, and if I'm ever to play Earthworm Jim, it has to be in the Mega Drive version because it just looks and sounds better in my opinion. This is another, like Shinobi 3, the action platformers on the Mega Drive are just one of my favourite genres because that's what it's all about for me. And this is in like this came out later, so it's got the blue kind of. Not spine, but artwork, I guess, around the edge. It's one of the later Mega Drive box styles. Earthworm Jim, great game. Nothing special here, but it's just a racing game. This one's Lotus Turbo Challenge, but this is not Lotus Turbo Challenge because when I bought this, it's actually Rex 2. So not really any much different to the first game, apart from you have to customise your own kind of thing. But I love this game. It's probably not on anyone's list of favourite games, but I've played this so much, and I just love the style of it. I love the way it plays. The graphics probably haven't aged that well to many people, but that's the thing about retro gaming. It's all really subjective. It's all about what you love and what you grew up with and what you're used to. So a really awful game that a lot of people might think, oh, don't want that. I love it. Love this game. So that's Lotus Rex 2. Lovely little 2D racer. That's it for my PAL. That's all the PAL games I have. So going forward over the next few weeks and months, I'm going to pick up... I'll be doing Mega Drive pickups. I never thought I'd be doing that kind of thing on this channel, but Hopefully it might interest a lot more people, because, you know, I guess doing one system like I do Sega Saturn isn't really too exciting, but it might broaden my horizons, I suppose. And I love the Mega Drive, and who doesn't? Who doesn't? I'll show you my Japanese games now. 15 minutes. I've got quite a few to get through, so I'll hurry through them. First one's a loose cartridge, Battletoads. I got this like just for a few quid. I thought it was worth picking up just as a loose cartridge. Next one is Strider. The Japanese version. These are all fucking Japanese, so I'm not going to say that. Strider Hue, a really, really hard platformer, and this is always harder. Every time I play it, it's always harder than I remember it being. I've never completed it. It's just so hard. But I love to give it a good crack when I get impulse. I think I'll give it a bit of Strider. Why not? Great port of the arcade game. They did such a great job on this. Great game. Here is my favourite Shinobi game. It's Shadow Dancer, of course. And the reason being, this has got the real kind of original Shinobi gameplay style, where you can jump from one level to the other, and then obviously you've got the dog as your companion. You can send him off to kill the bad guys. But Shadow Dancer is my favourite Shinobi game. I absolutely love it. I'll play this all day long. And again, action platformer, ninjas, like Megadrive, the 90s, ninjas. It's what it was all about. Everyone wanted to be a ninja. I wanted to be a ninja. And I was when I played this, so love it. This is like a little arena shooter. This is called Granada. It's kind of like you drive around this kind of like free roaming area as like a little tank, blowing up bad guys, completing objectives. This game is really good because it's all about the soundtrack for me. It really gives the game a lot of atmosphere. So in that respect, that's why I picked it up. That's why I love it. Granada, it's a great game. Shooters, coming on to a few shooters now. Obviously I couldn't get these in PAL, so I've just got them Japanese. This is Dangerous Seed. I haven't played this for ages. Bloody hell, I can't even really remember much about it. It's just a shooter. It's called Dangerous Seed. I can guess you can go and Google it and have a look. Insector X. This wasn't as good as I thought it was when I bought it. It's a horizontal shooter. The other one was a vertical shooter. This is a horizontal shooter. The box art is amazing. I love the box art, but the game doesn't, for me, live up to what it looks like. It looks a lot better than it plays. Let's say that. And it's a horizontal shooter, so not my favourite genre. I prefer vertical shooters, but I picked up this because primarily I thought the box sold the game for me. The screenshots and the box art look great, but I haven't really played it that much. Maybe I need to give it a bit more love. I'm really biased when it comes to horizontal shooters. I don't prefer them generally. Gunstar Heroes, treasure action platformer. I do really kind of wish I had the PAL version of this. I might swap it out in future. I would prefer a PAL version. Japanese game is alright. You know, box art is great, but real nostalgia for PAL for PAL games. Again, let's complete all these are. Gunstar Heroes, yeah. Another vertical. I love this shooter. This is a good one. You should play this. This is Elemental Master. I love this one. Loads of different weapon types. You can switch and upgrade your weapons. I played this the other year as one of my 52 game challenge. Loved it. Absolutely great game. Vertical shooter, if I didn't say that. Here's another shooter. This one's called Crying. Horizontal. I think this is a horizontal one. Yeah, horizontal shooter called Crying. Cool box art, really like that. Crackdown, another kind of arena kind of, you know, shooty kind of top-down game. Absolutely love this game. Awesome. Reminds me of kind of like, those old school kind of, what's those games called? like a medieval kind of game. Do you know what I mean? When it's top down and you just scroll through the levels, kind of doing objectives and shit. Love it. Crackdown, great game. And last one, Pat Labor. This is just like an RPG. It's just, I absolutely love the Pat Labor TV anime movies, and I got this just to take my time when I was learning Japanese, just to get familiar with the language and the reading. So that's essentially why I bought this. I bought this as a learning tool, really. So that's what that's for. I've got a few Japanese games here. These are the last 3, but these are actually reproductions kind of thing. So they're not official releases. I've probably shown these before. This one's Double Dragon. So it's a Japanese release of a game that wasn't released in Japan, if that makes sense. So it's Double Dragon, but done... Is it Double Dragon? Yeah, Double Dragon, but done Japanese style kind of thing. This one's Soldice. Horizontal shooter. So it wasn't originally released in Japan, but here's a Japanese style version. And the last one is Mega Turrican. Alright, so that's it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I'm gonna, like I say, when I go through and get some more Megadrive videos, Megadrive games over the next few weeks and months, I'll do like a pickup video and talk about why I picked it up and what I like about it. So look forward to a lot more Megadrive goodness, hopefully, from me. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Thanks for watching. See you later. It's not working.